My beloved, my child of light, my chosen one, why do you feel this sudden pull in your spirit as if someone is calling your name? Because tonight heaven itself is leaning closer, and Archangel Michael says, is standing at the edge of your world with a voice that cannot be ignored. God has waited for this exact heartbeat to reach you. Deep inside your soul already senses that the long silence you've carried is about to break, like a calm sky suddenly ripped open by a roar of thunder. But here's the truth that so many miss: if you brush this off as just another video, you may walk past the very gate that heaven unlocked especially for you. This isn't another random moment on the internet, it's the kind of moment that decides what unfolds next in your life. Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this now. Something is scheduled to happen in your house tonight. You've skipped before, don't do it again. Don't hurt God by walking away. Do you feel how urgent that sounds? It's not just poetic language, it's a call to attention, a lifeline being tossed to you in a storm you may not even realize you're in. You didn't stumble here by chance, heaven had to fight for your attention. Even as you watch this, it feels as if something heavy is trying to distract you, but you're still here, and that alone is proof that God hasn't forgotten you. Archangel Michael says, is on duty at your door tonight. Pause for a moment and think, how many times have you scrolled past something that was meant to change your direction? How often have you told yourself, I'll get back to it later, and then never did? Heaven is saying, not tonight, not this time. Before I take you deeper, let me be honest, don't treat this as a one-time thing. God says, blessings unfold for those who stay connected. If you keep coming back to hear His voice daily, you'll catch instructions you would have missed otherwise. This connection is your lifeline. Walk away too soon and you might miss what was written only for you. Now listen closely. Tonight something in your life is being realigned. You might not hear thunder or see flashes of light in your room, but in the unseen realm doors are unlocking, and paths that were blocked for years are beginning to open. Archangel Michael says, do not miss this. Don't ignore the whisper of heaven. Don't hurt God by treating this lightly. Your story isn't ending where your pain began. The very struggles that tried to bury you are about to be turned into a testimony. But heaven is precise with timing, and tonight is one of those precise moments. We humans always think there's more time, but windows of grace don't stay open forever. Think of it like a train pulling into the station. If you're distracted and don't step on board, it will move on without you. This message is the rope being lowered into your pit, and Michael's sword is already raised to cut the chains that have held you down. Every moment you stay and listen, light is entering your home, like dawn creeping in through the cracks of a long-shut room. Every word you receive right now is quietly rewiring the course of your life. God says, I am speaking. Don't ignore me again. My beloved child, do you know how many times heaven has tried to reach you? How many nights Archangel Michael has stood unseen by your bed, whispering, hoping you'd finally pause long enough to hear? But tonight is different. Tonight something long planned in heaven's book is set to break into your world. That strange shiver down your spine as you hear these words isn't fear, it's your spirit recognizing the moment you were meant to wake up. You've doubted, delayed, skipped, but heaven is saying enough. You cannot afford to treat this like another casual scroll. This isn't coincidence, this isn't just a random upload. This is a divine appointment stamped with today's date, October 4th, so urgent that even angels lean in to watch your next move. Michael's voice is clear: open this. Don't skip. Don't hurt God. You've been carrying your prayers like stones in your chest, wondering why heaven seemed silent. But what if I told you that the silence wasn't abandonment, it was strategy? The delay wasn't denial, it was setup. Heaven was arranging pieces you couldn't see, so that the right answer would arrive at the right moment. Tonight that curtain is about to be drawn back. Things that were hidden are being revealed. The battles you didn't even realize were happening in the spiritual realm above you are nearing a breakthrough, and the victory is leaning in your direction. Do you know why the tone tonight feels urgent, almost sharp? Because miracles don't sit still forever. They are like rare birds: if you hesitate too long they take flight. That's why you're being pleaded with not to skip, not to turn away. The window that opens tonight is carved for you, miss it and it shuts. So even if your surroundings feel ordinary, even if you're sitting alone in a quiet room, understand this: the unseen world is buzzing. Angels are taking position. Invisible barriers are being raised around you. Chains that held you for years are being tested, ready to snap. But the breakthrough lands where there is faith. And faith grows only when you keep receiving the word sent to stir it. Don't half listen. Don't click away mid-sentence. Don't treat this as just another set of words online. Think of it as the lifeline heaven has lowered into your life, at the exact second you were ready to grab it. God does not toy with your heart. Archangel Michael says, does not shout unless the matter is serious. Tonight your destiny is being negotiated. Standing still in doubt could cost you what heaven has already written in your favor. Let me speak to the part of you that's weary, the part that whispers late at night, why me, why doesn't anything change? God says, it was never because He ignored you, He was waiting for your faith to rise to this moment. This is that moment. Receive it, stay with it, let tonight be the turning point. My beloved child, if you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $100. The air tonight is heavy, not with fear but with a strange anticipation. It's as if the walls themselves are leaning in to listen. You've walked through days where nothing seemed to shift, where prayers felt like they floated into silence. But tonight is not like those nights. Heaven has called a full stop to the waiting. You're not scrolling by chance, something in your spirit recognized the pull before your fingers even clicked here. That restlessness you've been carrying, it wasn't just stress, it was the sound of chains about to snap. Archangel Michael says, does not speak in riddles tonight. He is not here to decorate your hope with sweet words. He stands at your threshold as a warrior sent on assignment. And what he says is simple: open. Don't postpone, don't analyze, don't say tomorrow. Heaven's timing is exact and this window won't remain open forever. The enemy wants you to believe you still have endless time to prepare, that the moment can be delayed. But heaven says, the hour is now. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd pray later, decide later, open your heart later, only to feel the same weight pressing on you the next day? That pattern breaks tonight, not because you've tried harder, but because heaven itself is breaking into your story. This is why the air feels charged, this is why your pulse quickens as you read. Your spirit senses the shift before your mind can comprehend it. You have carried questions that never made it into your prayers. You've wondered in the quiet if heaven had overlooked you. But every whispered why has been recorded. The reason the answer seemed delayed was not neglect, it was alignment. The miracle had to be prepared in a way that nothing, no curse, no opposition could overturn it once it arrived. And now it is ready. Heaven has already stamped this night as the night of release. Michael says, does not come as a distant figure, he comes as a sign that the battle over your life is being settled. If you could see in the spirit, you would notice the shift, shadows retreating, the heaviness on your chest loosening. Even the doubts that have been circling in your thoughts feel weaker, because the truth is standing in the room with you. The same power that raised you out of past storms is now calling you forward. The difference is this time you won't have to crawl, you're being lifted. You may think, but nothing around me looks different yet. That's the trick of the natural world. A seed doesn't look like a tree when it's first planted, but the moment it's in the soil the future has already changed. Tonight is the planting of something irreversible. The door you've been waiting to see open is already unlocking, your only task is to keep it from slamming shut through doubt or delay. And let's talk about that fear, the little voice that keeps whispering that maybe this isn't real, maybe nothing will change. That voice has lied to you long enough. It is the same one that told you you weren't good enough to be chosen, that your prayers were too small to matter, that your pain was invisible. Michael's sword has been drawn, not to frighten you but to cut that voice out of your path. The chains that held you back didn't come from heaven, and tonight they are losing their grip. Look closely at your own story. Why do you think you've always felt a little out of place, a little different, even in rooms full of people? That wasn't rejection, it was recognition. Heaven marked you long before the world could understand you. The very depth that others misread as strangeness was your proof of being set apart. That mark is stirring again tonight, not for your harm but for your awakening. Some of you will feel it as a strange peace settling over your chest, as if the war inside you just paused. Others will notice unexpected things, a call that feels like a door opening, a dream that feels unusually vivid, a sentence that seems to echo in your heart long after you read it. Don't dismiss these as coincidences. Heaven rarely announces itself with thunder, it often slips in through whispers and quiet turns of the heart. You've spent nights crying into your pillow, certain those tears disappeared into the dark. They didn't. They were gathered, stored, and presented at the throne. And tonight they are answered, not with pity but with power. The very places where you felt most forgotten will be the first to bloom. The burdens you carried alone will become the very testimonies that remind others they're not forsaken. The moment you choose to say yes in your heart, the atmosphere around you begins to change. Even your home, the space that has known your sighs and frustrations, begins to hum with a new expectancy. That's because heaven doesn't just bless individuals, it transforms environments. The peace that is entering tonight won't stay trapped in your heart, it will ripple through the rooms you live in, through the conversations you have, through the decisions you make tomorrow. So don't close your heart. Don't scroll past this as if it's another fleeting message. You've waited long enough. Heaven has waited long enough. The shift is not coming, it is already unfolding. All you're asked to do is lean into it, believe it, and refuse to let the noise of doubt drown it out. The night the silence ends has already begun. The urgency is not there to scare you, but to keep you from missing what's at the door. Tonight the gate is open. The invitation is real. And the one who calls you is the same one who has been carrying you all along. My beloved, tonight is not just another sunset sliding into darkness. Tonight the heavens lean closer, listening for your heartbeat, watching to see if you will keep your heart open. The chains that once wrapped around your future have begun to loosen, as if the earth itself knows the old season has ended. That is why the air around you feels charged, as if you could almost hear the hum of wings. You may think, why would heaven care so much about me? But that thought is exactly why this message is here. God says, you have always been seen, even in the hours when you thought your prayers went unheard. The nights you cried alone were never wasted, they became the ink that wrote tonight's promise. Heaven has waited until this exact point in your story to reveal what was stored for you. Archangel Michael stands as a sentinel at the threshold of your home. Imagine a great warrior with a sword of light, not threatening you but guarding you. Every shadow that tried to creep into your peace trembles now because he is stationed there. This is not a poetic idea, it is a spiritual reality. Your room tonight is like a sacred chamber, and your attention is the key that unlocks what is already prepared. Listen carefully, the enemy's oldest trick is delay. It whispers, you can respond tomorrow, maybe next week. But heaven's clock does not tick like the one on your wall. God says, the moment to respond is now, not later. Later belongs to the shadows, now belongs to the light. You might wonder if such an urgent word could really be for you. You've thought of yourself as too ordinary, too flawed. But heaven chose you precisely because you are not polished. Your scars are not stains, they are the openings through which grace shines. The very cracks in your heart will allow the light to pour out more brightly. So as you sit there reading these lines, notice what you feel in your chest. That steady warmth or the sudden tight breath is not fear, it's your spirit recognizing the nearness of what's promised. That is why the message warns again and again, do not skip. Do not brush this aside. The patterns that have haunted your family line for generations, the cycles of lack, the invisible ceilings that blocked progress, tonight they tremble. They will not survive the presence that has entered your house. But the one thing that can stop the shift is unbelief. Heaven cannot pour into a vessel that keeps its lid closed. Right now as these words reach you, certain doors that were locked for years are creaking open. An unexpected phone call, an apology you never thought would come, a new opportunity you weren't even searching for, these are not coincidences. They are the first signs of a larger move already in motion. God says, the delay you've endured was not punishment. It was preparation. Some blessings had to wait until you had the strength to hold them, without letting them slip away. Tonight marks the crossing from preparation to manifestation. Understand this, Michael's presence at your doorway, means the war that raged in silence is reaching its end. The swords have been drawn, not to frighten you but to cut off the chains that kept your destiny stalled. The atmosphere may feel different, almost as if the walls themselves are listening. That is not imagination. The ground beneath your feet is responding to heaven's decree. You have spent too many years thinking you were forgotten, giving to others while quietly starving your own heart. Heaven has not overlooked those sacrifices. Every secret battle you fought has been counted. And tonight those hidden struggles become the reason for an open display of favor. Let me say this plainly, do not underestimate what is unfolding. This night will not announce itself with trumpets or fireworks. It may come quietly as peace settling in your chest, or as clarity about a choice that once confused you. But whether it arrives like a gentle whisper or like a sudden shift, it carries the weight of eternity. Keep your mind anchored here as you read. Don't drift away. Every word you receive with an open heart builds a bridge, between the unseen promise and the visible change you will soon encounter. Already the alignment has begun. Someone who resisted you is being moved aside. Someone who doubted you is being nudged to see your worth. Resources that were withheld are starting to move toward you. This is not a future hope, it is a present unfolding. Archangel Michael says, do not hurt God by dismissing what He has arranged for you. Do not treat this like just another piece of text. Heaven does not speak in vain. The armies that stand behind you tonight do so because this night is different. This house you sit in is no longer just a shelter of walls and a roof. It has become an altar where battles are won, a field where seeds are sown, a gate through which new seasons will enter. The decisions you make in the quiet of this night will echo far beyond dawn. You woke this morning thinking it would be an ordinary day, yet your spirit sensed something stirring. That restlessness was the pull of destiny. It is the reason your thoughts could not fully settle, why you felt a strange expectancy that you could not explain. Now you understand why, because this night was marked before the foundations of the earth, as the night heaven would draw near to you in a way you could no longer miss. So hold this word, not like a passing thought but like a torch in the dark. Keep it before you as the hours pass. Heaven watches, not to judge you but to see if you will dare to believe, if you will let the shift take root, instead of fading away. You are not at the end of your story, you are at the turning of the page. Tonight is not the finale, it is the spark of a new chapter. Do not let weariness or doubt steal this moment. The angels have already taken their places. The unseen world leans in anticipation. And heaven waits for your simple yes, the yes of a heart that chooses to stay open, that refuses to skip away from what was written long ago for this night. My beloved, I know how weary your heart is. You've whispered prayers in the dark that felt too fragile to even say out loud. You've held on to hope so thin it felt like a thread ready to snap. But heaven heard even the prayers you thought were too weak to reach beyond the ceiling. Tonight is not about the strength of your words, it's about the strength of the one who has heard them all. The weight you've been carrying, the disappointments, the silent nights, the memories that still sting, heaven is not blind to them. Those tears you thought were wasted watered the ground for this very hour. That's why the voice of Archangel Michael says, do not skip, do not close your heart now. This is the night heaven has been preparing for you. Child of light, understand this, the delay was never rejection. The silence was not abandonment. Heaven was moving in ways you could not see, weaving together pieces you didn't even know were part of your story. And tonight that unseen work breaks through the surface. The shift you've longed for isn't floating somewhere far off in the future, it's knocking at your door right now. But the gate only opens where faith is awake. That's why you feel that stirring in your chest, that trembling in your hands as you read. Your spirit recognizes the moment even if your mind hesitates. You see, the enemy has tried for so long to keep you distracted, convincing you that there's always tomorrow, always later, always some other time to take God seriously. But tonight the heavens have declared, no more delay. This is the moment you've been unknowingly walking toward, through every valley and every tear. That's why Michael stands at your threshold like a warrior, not just watching but guarding the doorway of your destiny. He has held back forces that wanted to crush your hope. He has preserved promises that seemed lost. And now he's handing the moment to you, urging you not to let it slip through your fingers again. My dear one, you don't have to be perfect for this. You don't have to know all the answers or have unshakable faith. All heaven asks of you tonight is a simple yes, a willingness to stay present, to not skip past the words meant to free you. Even now while you're reading, there are unseen battles being settled in your favor. Old cycles are crumbling. Patterns that kept repeating are breaking. The heaviness that sat on your chest like a stone is being lifted. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but your spirit will start to sense the shift, the air will feel different, your heart will feel lighter and the weight you carried will no longer fit on your shoulders. Think of this night not as a random evening but as a turning point. Heaven has circled this date for you. The seasons of delay, of silence, of watching others move forward while you felt left behind, tonight marks the beginning of their end. The reason it feels urgent is because heaven's window has opened wide for you, and heaven knows windows do not stay open forever. That's why Michael's words sound like thunder instead of a gentle breeze. He is cutting through your doubts, through your weariness, through the voice that says you are too ordinary to be chosen. Beloved, let this sink in, you were not overlooked. You were preserved. The doors that shut on you were not losses, they were protections. The people who left you were not rejections, they were part of heaven's clearing of the stage for what is about to walk in. Every unanswered prayer was not ignored but stored until this hour. And tonight as you sit in your own room, the atmosphere around you is shifting. It may be quiet but it is holy ground. Do not underestimate this moment. There are nights in life that feel like any other and then there are nights that become the hinge of your story, the moment the future changes direction. This is such a night. That's why heaven repeats, don't skip. Don't hurt God by walking away again. Because your yes tonight doesn't just change how you feel, it changes the trajectory of your days to come. You will wake up tomorrow sensing that something has turned even if nothing looks different yet. My child, I want you to picture this. Somewhere in the unseen scrolls with your name on them are being opened. Old seals are breaking. Promises that felt like they were locked in a vault are being released. The chains of fear that kept your faith small are falling off. The weight that kept your dreams buried is being lifted. And even as you breathe in this moment, the angels who have watched over you for years are rejoicing because they know heaven's timing has arrived. You have been called to this moment, not because you earned it but because heaven delights in you. God says, I have not forgotten you, I have not turned away, I have been waiting for the time when your heart would finally be ready to believe. And Archangel Michael adds, that time is now. Don't skip. Don't let this pass. The power of heaven is not in distant clouds tonight, it is standing at your doorstep waiting for your faith to open the door. So beloved, stay in this moment. Do not rush away. Do not scroll past. Let these words sink deeper than your doubts, deeper than your disappointments. Let them reach the part of you that still hopes quietly when no one else is looking. Because tonight that hope is not in vain. Tonight it is being met by heaven's answer. You may still wonder how it will unfold, but that is not your burden to carry. The how belongs to God, the yes belongs to you. If you can hold on to that truth, you will see that the shift is already happening. Doors that resisted you will begin to yield. People who overlooked you will start to notice. Paths that were blocked will open like gates swinging wide. And you will know, not as a distant idea but as a lived reality, that the words you read tonight were not just words, they were the spark that ignited the turning of your season. Stay awake in spirit tonight. Pay attention to the quiet nudges, the subtle shifts in your atmosphere, the peace that feels like it came from nowhere. These are not accidents. They are the first ripples of what heaven is releasing. And as you hold these words close, let faith rise again where it had grown tired. Because the one who called you to this moment is faithful to finish what he starts. Beloved, do you realize what this truly means? The moment you stopped scrolling and let your eyes settle on these words, something shifted in the unseen. The resistance you have been feeling, the heaviness pressing down on your chest, the sudden doubts rising in your thoughts is not random. It is the sound of old chains rattling because they know they are about to break. The enemy does not fight what is harmless, he only fights what is destined to rise. And you, dear heart, were always meant to rise. Michael stands even now like a great sentinel at the threshold of your home. His sword glimmers, not in some distant vision but in the unseen air that surrounds you. He is not there as a symbol. He is there as a shield. His presence draws a line across your doorway declaring, "No darkness may enter here." If your spirit feels a strange calm beneath the tremble, that is heaven's army already taking its place around you. You have asked, why has it taken so long, why all these years of waiting, of unanswered prayers, of silence that sometimes felt unbearable? Heaven's answer is not that you were ignored. It is that your story was being woven in ways you could not yet see. Seeds planted long ago were pushing roots deep beneath the soil so that when they finally break through, they cannot be uprooted. Some blessings are delayed because they are too heavy for a shallow foundation. Beloved child, hear this with your whole heart, those tears you thought were wasted watered the very ground that is about to bloom. Those lonely nights where you felt invisible taught you to recognize heaven's whisper. That heartbreak that once felt like the end was in truth the clearing of the stage for a greater arrival. Tonight is not merely an answer to prayer, it is the revealing of what your soul was always meant to carry. Even now, above you, the scrolls with your name on them are being unfolded. Promises inked before you ever took your first breath are being read aloud in the courts of heaven. Some words that were written for your family line generations ago, blessings that were lost or stolen are being restored in your name. The breaking point you have felt, the sense that you were born to stop cycles of pain that kept repeating is real. You are not here to endure what others endured. You are here to be the turning point, the moment the pattern finally ends. Do you understand why this message feels so alive? It is not merely text. It is breath. The same breath that hovered over the waters in the beginning now hovers over your story. That restlessness in your heart as you read these lines is not fear. It is recognition. Your soul knows the sound of its own rescue. God says, I have seen the way you carried others when no one noticed. I have heard the prayers you whispered through clenched teeth when the room was dark. I have watched you stay kind when bitterness would have been easier. And now I move on your behalf. You don't need to understand the full plan. You are not asked to predict the steps. You are simply asked to believe that what was once delayed is now being accelerated. Archangel Michael says, do not let this night pass as if it were ordinary. Do not silence the pull you feel in your chest. This is the appointed hour. The battle is fierce because the dawn is near. Stand your ground. Refuse to give your attention to the whispers of doubt. The way your blessing comes may surprise you. It may not look like a thunderclap. It may be a quiet phone call, a door opening in the least expected direction, a gentle but undeniable shift in your heart. Do not dismiss small beginnings, the greatest rivers often start as a trickle. Beloved, picture this. Somewhere in the unseen, the chains that have traveled through your bloodline, the fears, the failures, the repeated losses are snapping one by one. In their place new words are being spoken over your name, restored, favored, unshaken. The very house you sit in tonight is marked as a place of turning. You might still wonder, could it really be me, could this really be my night? Heaven answers again, yes this night. Because you have held on when you had every reason to let go. Because you kept even a small flame of hope alive when the winds tried to extinguish it. Because you were never forgotten. And so I urge you, do not rush past this moment. Let these words rest in you like seeds. Open your heart as if it were soil and let faith water what heaven is planting. The world outside your door may look the same tomorrow morning, but your spirit will know something has changed. The weight will feel lighter. The path ahead will no longer seem blocked. People who overlooked you may suddenly notice. Doors that seemed sealed may creak open. What was lost may start returning. Do not be afraid if the shift feels subtle. The most powerful changes often begin beneath the surface. Trust that what is unseen is already moving in your favor. Stay awake in your faith. Do not let distraction steal what was meant for you. My beloved, remember this night, not for its drama but for its stillness, for the way heaven leaned close enough for you to feel it. Remember that you were not just another name among millions, you were the one marked for this very visitation. And when the days ahead unfold, when the pieces that never fit before begin to lock into place, you will know that this was the threshold where everything began to turn. Beloved child, lean in even closer now because heaven is still speaking. The reason the words seem to breathe as you read them is because they are alive. This is not just text, it is the voice of a God who refuses to give up on you. That is why the pull in your chest feels both heavy and tender at the same time. It's heaven saying, stay here, do not drift away now. You see, all those years you thought your prayers were falling flat, they were in fact rising. They were gathered like dew, stored as if in jars of light, and tonight those jars have been tipped over. It is not a trickle that is coming your way, it is a release, a flood breaking through what held it back. And the only thing heaven asks is that you do not close the gate by treating this moment as casual. My beloved, picture this in your spirit. The angels have been preparing this night like a great celebration, but not a celebration of noise and glitter, one of victory. They have been holding back the tide of what has opposed you until this very hour. That is why the resistance has been so fierce, why the weariness you felt lately seemed heavier than usual. The closer the dawn, the darker the night tries to be. But now the night is being pierced. Archangel Michael stands not as a distant figure in a story but as a living guard at your door. His sword is not raised against you but against everything that has tried to diminish you. Every lie that whispered you were forgotten, every chain of despair that weighed on your shoulders, every unseen snare that tangled your steps, tonight his blade strikes through them. And listen, God says, I have not delayed because I ignored you, I delayed because I was building the strength in you to hold what I am about to give. That is why you are still standing even after storms that should have broken you. That is why your heart still beats with hope even when disappointment tried to choke it. It is proof you were preserved for this hour. Beloved, I know you have carried questions that you never dared to voice. You wondered if you were somehow disqualified, if your past mistakes were stronger than God's promises. But tonight heaven answers you clearly, no. You are not disqualified. You are redeemed. You are not abandoned, you are appointed. The very fact that you are still here, still breathing, still reading is the evidence that your story was never over. It was being written for this very night. Heaven whispers, you have thought the silence was neglect. It was actually strategy. I hid the answers so the enemy could not steal them. And tonight I uncover them. Beloved one, take a deep breath now. Do you sense the difference in the air? That quiet weight is not oppression, it is the presence of the one who has come close. You may feel tears rising for no clear reason or a stillness settling over you, do not push it away. That is how the Spirit often moves, not always with noise but with a calm that disarms the storm inside you. Understand this, tonight is not only about lifting your burden. It is about rewriting the atmosphere of your whole household. The heaviness that hung over your family line for years, the cycles that repeated generation after generation, heaven is declaring them finished. You are the chosen hinge where the old door closes and the new one opens. That is why the struggle felt so personal and so relentless, because you were carrying more than your own weight. But tonight the weight is being broken. Tonight what was carried by your ancestors as sorrow will turn in your life into testimony. Do not let your heart wander now. Stay steady. The temptation to skim these words is itself the battle. That restless urge to rush on is not random, it is resistance trying to rob you at the threshold. But if you remain, if you stay under this rain of words, the rain will soak you until something begins to grow in you that you cannot deny. Beloved, tomorrow you may wake up to the same walls and the same sky, yet something in you will feel unexplainably lighter. You may receive a call you were not expecting. Someone who dismissed you may suddenly remember your name. An idea long buried may spring to mind like a seed finally breaking the soil. That is how heaven often moves, not always with thunder but with undeniable shifts that bear the scent of grace. Do not think it strange if peace settles where panic used to live. Do not be surprised if the fear that stalked your night simply fails to return. That will be the sign that Michael's sword did its work. And when that moment comes, remember this night. Mark it not only on your calendar but in your heart. Let it remind you that you were seen, that you were fought for, that you were loved enough for heaven to interrupt your ordinary evening with a holy visitation. So now, beloved, hold your heart open. Refuse the lie that this is just another set of words on a screen. Refuse the thought that tomorrow will be like yesterday. Tonight the gate has opened. Walk through it in faith. Let your very breath be an act of receiving. Whisper to yourself even now, I believe, I will not skip, I will not let go. For the same God who heard you in the silence now calls you by name in the open. The same angels who guarded you unseen now rejoice to see you stand on the threshold. And the same Michael who fought for you tonight will continue to shield what is delivered to you in the days ahead. Beloved child, heaven says one last thing to you tonight. This moment is not fragile. It is eternal. It will outlast the fears that try to steal it. Do not waste it. Cherish it. And as you close your eyes after reading this, know that you do not close them alone. The presence that filled your room as you read these words will not leave with the night. It stays, it surrounds, it carries you forward. Amen.